The studio lights gleamed as Michael Carter leaned back in his chair, a smirk stretching across his face. The host of the Carter Hour, a popular left-leaning talk show, was in his element, feeding his audience a fresh dose of snark. Tonight's target, none other than Elon Musk. "Ladies and gentlemen," Carter chuckled, turning to the camera, "it seems our favorite billionaire genius/Twitter addict is at it again. This time he's ranting about woke culture ruining innovation. I mean, is there anything this guy won't blame for his problems? Maybe his next rocket explosion will somehow be the fault of pronouns." The audience erupted in laughter. Clips of Musk's recent social media posts flashed on the screen, each followed by Carter's exaggerated eye rolls and mockery. "You'd think with all that money he could buy a sense of humor," Carter added. Within minutes, the segment was trending online. Clips spread across social media, with Carter's fans celebrating another epic takedown of the world's most unpredictable billionaire. But the internet is never a one-way street, and Musk was watching. Less than an hour later, a tweet from Musk's account popped up. "Michael Carter, the man who makes a living complaining about people who actually build things. Impressive career. Path." The response was swift and brutal. Musk's followers flooded Carter's mentions with memes, statistics, and sarcastic jabs. But the billionaire wasn't done. The next morning, a cryptic tweet from Musk appeared. "Since the Carter Hour is so fascinated with my work, let's do something fun. $10 million to charity if Michael debates me live. Let's see if he can keep up without a laugh track." Social media went into a frenzy. Carter, known for his sharp tongue and scripted settings, suddenly faced an open challenge from the man he mocked. The pressure mounted. Would he accept? If he did, could he actually hold his own against Musk's unpredictable wit? For hours, Carter remained silent. His team debated whether engaging was worth the risk. A refusal would make him look weak. Acceptance could expose him in a way pre-recorded monologues never did. Eventually, he addressed the situation on his show. "I see Elon wants to have a debate." "That's adorable," Carter scoffed, though his usual confidence seemed forced. "I'd hate to embarrass him in front of his fanboys, but if he's serious about charity, let's talk." Musk, never one to back down, replied instantly. "Set a date. No script, no teleprompter, just two guys talking ideas. If you believe in what you say, you won't need the safety net." Carter's team scrambled. Musk had flipped the script. The man who had laughed at the billionaire was now in the hot seat. If he refused, he'd be seen as just another talk show host afraid to back up his words. If he accepted, he'd be playing in Musk's arena, one where ideas, not punchlines, determined the winner. By the end of the week, a poll circulated online. Will Carter accept Musk's challenge? The overwhelming consensus? He wouldn't. Days passed, and Carter still hadn't given a clear answer. His usual bravado was slipping. Online, the debate raged on. Musk's supporters mocked him as a coward, while Carter's fans insisted the challenge was beneath him. Then, after nearly a week of speculation, Carter finally responded with a carefully crafted statement on his show. "Elon Musk wants a debate? Fine. But here's the deal. I'm not flying to one of his space colonies for it. If he's serious, we'll do it right here in my studio, with a live audience. And since he loves putting his money where his mouth is, let's raise the stakes. $20 million to charity." The audience cheered, but Musk wasted no time firing back. "Done. But neutral ground. No scripted questions, no cherry-picked audience. We do it live, with an independent moderator. No excuses." Now Carter was stuck. If he backed out now, his credibility would shatter. His team, desperate to control the narrative, tried spinning it as a win. "See, we got him to raise the money," they claimed. But the internet wasn't buying it. Everyone knew this wasn't about charity anymore. It was about pride. Finally, Carter had no choice but to accept. The event was set. A live, unfiltered debate between one of the most influential men in the world and the talk show host who had mocked him. The night of the debate arrived. The tension in the air was thick as millions tuned in. Carter, used to controlling the conversation, now faced an opponent who thrived in chaos. Musk, dressed casually as ever, smirked as he took his seat across from Carter. The moderator started. Gentlemen, tonight we're here to discuss innovation, free speech, and the role of media in shaping narratives. Mr. Carter, since this challenge began with your critique of Mr. Musk, you have the first word. Carter cleared his throat. Elon Musk is undeniably a smart guy, but let's not pretend he's some misunderstood genius. He's a billionaire who complains about woke culture while running companies that rely on government subsidies and labor from people who actually do the work. Musk grinned. And yet those people choose to work there because we build things that matter. Unlike, say, late-night talk shows. The audience chuckled. Carter pressed on. You whine about free speech, but let's be real. What you actually want is the freedom to say whatever you want without criticism. Musk leaned in. No, I want everyone to have that freedom. Even people who mock me on their shows and then panic when they get challenged. Carter stiffened. He was losing control. Musk wasn't just answering, he was redirecting. Every point Carter made turned into an opportunity for Musk to highlight hypocrisy in the media, corporate influence, and even Carter's own past statements. Minutes turned into an hour. The internet exploded with reactions. Polls showed viewers overwhelmingly siding with Musk, not because they agreed with everything he said, but because he didn't back down. Carter, despite his sharp wit, struggled without his usual safety nets. By the end, as the moderator wrapped up, Musk leaned back and delivered his final blow. This whole thing started because a talk show host thought it was funny to mock someone who actually builds things. But when challenged, it turns out words alone don't hold up against ideas. Maybe next time, less laughing, more thinking. The debate ended. The internet declared Musk the winner. Carter's team tried spinning it as a great conversation, but the damage was done. His credibility had taken a hit. Meanwhile, Musk kept his word. $20 million went to charity, and he moved on, as always, to his next big idea. In the days following the debate, social media was flooded with reactions. Clips of Musk's sharpest comebacks went viral, while Carter's most awkward moments became instant memes. The hashtags, Musk destroys Carter and think before you laugh, trended worldwide. Carter's fan base tried to defend him. It wasn't a fair debate, they argued. Musk is used to talking under pressure. Others claimed the format was stacked against Carter, even though his team had originally set the terms. But perception is reality, and the perception was clear. Carter had lost. Badly. The network scrambled to contain the fallout. On his next show, Carter tried to reframe the event. Folks, I know the internet is having fun with this whole debate thing, but let's be honest. Elon Musk didn't win anything. He just proved what we already knew. Billionaires will say anything to protect their egos. The studio audience clapped, but the energy was off. The confidence Carter once exuded felt forced. His jokes didn't land the same way. Even his most loyal fans couldn't ignore that something had shifted. Meanwhile, Musk did what Musk does best. He moved on. A few days after the debate, he tweeted, "Fun chat with Carter, hope he learned something. Back to work. Tesla AI Day coming soon. Big things ahead." With that, the internet's attention followed him. The debate became just another viral moment in a world that moves fast. But Carter's career wouldn't recover so easily. Viewership of the Carter Hour declined over the following weeks. Sponsors took notice. Some quietly pulled out, not wanting to be associated with a show that had become a joke. Carter's team pushed back, booking high-profile guests and attempting a rebrand. They even tried bringing on other Musk critics to refuel the rivalry. But the magic was gone. A few months later, rumors swirled that the Carter Hour was being restructured. The network denied it, but industry insiders knew the truth. Carter's influence had peaked. He had gone after one of the biggest names in the world, and instead of taking him down, he had boosted Musk's image while exposing his own weaknesses. Then, the final blow came. A leaked internal memo revealed the network was considering replacing Carter with a fresh perspective. He went on air the next night, visibly irritated, and addressed the rumors. "Folks, I know there's a lot of talk about the future of this show. Let me be clear, I'm not going anywhere. Unlike some people, I don't run from criticism. But the irony was lost on no one. The man who built his career mocking others had finally become the punchline, and somewhere in a Tesla factory or a SpaceX control room, Elon Musk probably smiled, knowing he had won without even trying. In the following months, Carter fought hard to stay relevant. His team pushed new angles, leaning into cultural debates, doubling down on political satire, even attempting to rebrand as a serious journalist. But the damage was done. The internet never forgets, and Carter's humiliating defeat at Chao, Musk's hands remained a permanent stain on his credibility. The ratings slump continued. Advertisers, once eager to be associated with his sharp wit and viral takedowns, quietly withdrew. His monologues, once met with enthusiastic applause, now felt forced. The network grew restless. Behind closed doors, executives discussed options, cutting the show's runtime, moving it to a less favorable slot, or pulling the plug entirely. Carter, sensing the shift, lashed out. "It's all part of a coordinated effort," he ranted. On one of his episodes, "The billionaire class doesn't like it when you push back. They use their influence to silence voices like mine." The speech went viral, but not in the way he hoped. Musk, ever the provocateur, responded with a single tweet, "Dude, you challenged me. You lost, move on." The tweet exploded. Memes flooded the internet. One of the most popular depicted Carter sitting at his desk, looking frustrated with the caption, "When you realize debating isn't the same as reading off a teleprompter." Carter's downfall became a case study in how the internet could make or break public figures overnight. Analysts dissected it. Journalists wrote think pieces. Some defended him, arguing that Musk's influence had been unfairly leveraged. Others pointed out the irony, that Carter, who had built his brand on mocking others, had crumbled the moment. He was on the receiving end. The final straw came 6 months later. The network, no longer willing to tolerate the sinking ratings, announced that the Carter Hour would be evolving into a new format. Carter, of course, wasn't invited to be part of that evolution. The official statement was diplomatic. Carter himself posted a bitter farewell message blaming corporate interests and tech billionaires for his show's demise. But deep down, he knew the truth. Meanwhile, Musk barely acknowledged the whole saga. He had moved on to new ventures, advancing AI, launching rockets, expanding Tesla's self-driving tech. His encounter with Carter became just another footnote in his ever-growing legend. One night, long after his show had been canceled, Carter sat alone in his apartment scrolling through Twitter. He came across an old clip of himself laughing at Musk, mocking him in front of a roaring audience, and for the first time, there was no one left to laugh with him. Carter closed his laptop and rubbed his temples. The silence of his apartment felt suffocating. No audience, no cameras, no instant validation, just the dull hum of the city outside his window. He had spent years building the Carter Hour into one of the most talked-about shows in late-night television. Now it was gone, and with it, the power he once wielded. The invitations to elite parties had dried up. Calls from media executives went unanswered. Even his former colleagues, the ones who had cheered him on during the Musk feud, had moved. Desperate to stay relevant, Carter tried launching his own podcast, Unfiltered with Michael Carter. He marketed it as his raw and honest take on politics, tech, and media. But without the network backing him, without the polished production and high-profile guests, it never took off. The episodes barely cracked a few thousand views, a far cry from the millions he once commanded. Meanwhile, Musk thrived. His companies continued breaking new ground. Tesla's latest self-driving breakthrough was dominating the news. SpaceX had just landed another historic contract. Even his social media presence remained as powerful as ever, each tweet sparking debate, engagement, and viral reactions. One evening, Carter found himself doom-scrolling through Musk's account, watching as the billionaire casually interacted with world leaders, tech giants, and fans. He came across a tweet that made his stomach turn. "Success isn't about winning every argument. It's about building things that last." The post had hundreds of thousands of likes. Carter scoffed, but deep down, the words stung. For years, he had thrived on tearing others down. He had built a career off of sarcasm, mockery, and easy applause. But when faced with someone who didn't just talk, but built, he had been exposed. Months passed, and Carter faded further from the public. He tried a few desperate stunts, attacking other high-profile figures, picking fights with up-and-coming media personalities. But nothing landed the way it used to. His audience had moved on. The world had moved on. One night, in a final attempt to recapture some of his lost relevance, he fired off a bitter tweet. Funny how billionaires can fail upward while the rest of us get buried. But sure, keep worshipping them. It got some traction, but nothing like before. Then, as if fate wanted to remind him of his place, Musk replied with a single word. Cope. The internet erupted in laughter. Carter, once the king of late-night sarcasm, had become the very thing he used to mock. A bitter man, yelling into the void, while the world moved forward without him. Carter stared at his phone, his face burning with frustration. Musk's one-word reply had done more damage than any elaborate takedown ever could. The replies flooded in, memes, jokes, and brutal commentary. Ratioed again, buddy. Man went from primetime TV to arguing in the comments. Carter should start a podcast called L's Only. He threw his phone onto the couch and leaned forward, his hands clasped. How had it come to this? Just a year ago, he had been untouchable, a top-rated show. Endless praise from media circles, the ability to shape narratives with a single monologue. Now, he was a punchline. His attempt to pivot into podcasting had flopped. His name was no longer trending unless it was attached to another Musk dunk. Even his former allies in the industry were distancing themselves. They saw what he refused to admit. His influence was gone. After another sleepless night, he made a decision. If he couldn't beat Musk with jokes, maybe he could do something bigger, something serious. He would reinvent himself, not as a comedian, but as a crusader against billionaire power. He called his manager, pitching the idea. A documentary, a hard-hitting expose on Musk's empire, exposing every alleged scandal, every controversy, every flaw. He would travel to Tesla factories, interview former employees, dig into financial records. The manager hesitated. Look, Michael, I get it, but I don't know if this is the move. Why not? Carter snapped. You know how much dirt there is on this guy. People want to see him taken down. Maybe. But let's be real, you're too close to this. Everyone knows it's personal now. Carter gritted his teeth. So what? That doesn't make it wrong. No, but it makes it obvious. If this was anyone else doing it, maybe. But, coming from you? It just looks like you're obsessed. Carter hung up. His jaw clenched as he stared at the wall. Obsession? That's what they thought? He wasn't obsessed. He was right. Determined, he pushed forward alone. He started writing scripts, reaching out to journalists, even trying to crowdfund the project. But the support wasn't there. The media landscape had moved on. Other stories dominated the cycle, and without a network backing him, his reach was a fraction of what it once was. One by one, the doors closed. Former colleagues wouldn't return his calls. Investors passed. Even the networks that once championed his voice weren't interested. Months later, exhausted and running out of money, he finally admitted defeat. The documentary never happened. The podcast fizzled out. The world had decided it no longer needed Michael Carter. Then one evening he saw the final humiliation. A new late-night host had taken his old time slot. A younger, fresher face. And in the opening monologue, a joke about him. You guys remember Michael Carter? Yeah, apparently he's trying to make a comeback. But at this point, even MySpace has a bigger audience. The crowd roared with laughter. Carter sat in the dark staring at the screen. The cycle had come full circle. He had spent his career mocking others. Now, he was the one being mocked. And for the first time in his life, he had nothing to say.